It's World Population Day 2021, and the topic surrounding this year's observance is the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on fertility. The experts are still examining what, if any, effect there has been, but in the meantime, we want to encourage safe family planning and regular medical checkups to identify and address any fertility issues early. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Stay tuned as we turn the pages of your favorite television program.
My name is Emile Leiber. I'm the president of the Jamaican Bar Association. We are grateful for all the investment which has taken place in our technological infrastructure. In order to fully appreciate the benefits of the technological improvements, I think one has to have an appreciation of how things were before. So if you're an attorney at law who was situated in, for example, Montego Bay, and you had a matter in the Supreme Court, it could be a chambers hearing, could have been for a few minutes. You would drive from Montego Bay, come to Kingston, sit in the judge's chambers for perhaps 15 minutes, half an hour, and then drive back to Montego Bay. So you will see there very readily that 4 hours of productive time easily, and that's assuming you drove enthusiastically, would have been lost, if not more, without the benefit of the technological improvements. So we now truly have a system of justice which is accessible to practitioners throughout Jamaica as well as the individual litigants.
According to the United Nations, an estimated 58% of female victims of murder were killed by an intimate partner or a member of their own family. This amounted to 137 women every day. The UN says this has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, with violence against women now deemed the shadow pandemic. This may be a global statistic, but if we take a magnifying glass and zero in on Jamaica, then we'll realize we're also faced with a similar predicament. I take this opportunity to urge you all, let's do what's right and bring an end to violence against women.
It is no secret. Jamaica experiences reports of domestic violence.
Sometimes he beat me in front of the picnic them.
There is no excuse for abuse, and the government has implemented a plan with the hope of beating domestic violence out of the country. The data on gender-based violence says much. In Jamaica, 1 in every 4 women is abused. Globally, 1 in every 3 women is a victim. Coupled with that, domestic violence has no regard for age or status. Men are also victims, so too girls as young as age 15, who are being physically, sexually, and emotionally abused in intimate partner relationships. With year-on occurrences of all forms of gender-based violence, the government has been courting several plans to eliminate the act. Finally, a perfect relationship has been formed and has given birth to a 10-year plan for ending this cowardly act. The National Strategic Action Plan to Eliminate Gender-Based Violence in Jamaica, NSAP-GBV for short.
The period is 2017 to 2027, 2017 to 2027. And that plan is predicated on the due diligence framework, which allows us to have 5 strategic priority areas. The first one is prevention. How do we engage key stakeholders so that they become a part of the solution and not a part of the problem?
A major component of the prevention strategic area is the implementation of a No Excuse for Abuse social media-driven campaign.
We are very fortunate to have been blessed with a 3-year MOU through our partner, UN Women, that will allow us to do a 6-month campaign. We think that this campaign should make a huge difference, and we plan to have it rolled out in a very robust manner across communities and engaging different players at different times. The second strategic priority area is protection. that looks at how do we ensure that once the person becomes a victim, there is the adequate provision for shelter, there is provision for psychosocial support and rehabilitation. How do we look at the perpetrator as well?
The third priority strategic area covers the investigation, prosecution, and enforcement of court orders.
So once a person has been a victim, becomes a victim, what sort of mechanisms are in place to ensure that the victim gets redress and gets compensation if that is what is required? And if there is a protection order that is required, how do we ensure that the protection order is taken out and that it is enforced? And if there is an issue with compliance, which happens in some cases, where the perpetrator decides to violate the protection order, how do we ensure that it is enforced? And how do we ensure that the victim has protection? The fourth strategic priority area looks at compensation, reparation, and redress. How do we ensure that victims and survivors have adequate compensation for redress for wrongs that have been done? And how do we compensate? What forms of redress are appropriate? What is affordable given our limited fiscal space? The fifth and final strategic priority area is data collection and the systems by which we have a management of data. Gone are the days where persons talk from their heads about gender-based violence, because we now have a survey findings, a set of survey findings that's put together in a report. It's called the Women's Health Survey, and that survey for us is very important.
Released in 2017, the Women's Health Survey was conducted by the Inter-American Development Bank, UN Women, and the Statistical Institute of Jamaica. It provides facts, not anecdotal information about the violence some persons face. Eliminating gender-based violence will not be a band-aid fix. With the help of local and international partners, government has crafted a research-driven program to involve major stakeholders. The goal is simple yet revolutionary: to bring an end once and for all to this scourge that has crippled families and impacted our country psychologically and financially. Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
A growing population requires increased security to ensure our safety, and the Ministry of National Security has been leading that charge. The latest development comes with strengthening the Firearm Licensing Authority, creating policies and implementing measures that will help with gun control in Jamaica. Find out more about one of the FLA's projects next.
The FLA, like all other departments in the ministry, are going through a process of modernization to make them fully equipped with the requisite technology and structures to manage security apparatus in the 21st century. So in fact, they have acquired some bullet tracks machine to track both the casing and the warhead necessary. More critically, they have acquired a laser engraving machine, which means from now on, every licensed firearm in Jamaica will have a ID installed by laser, which means wherever it is found, we can know who was the original owner, who brought it in, and that it is in fact a licensed firearm in Jamaica. So the laser ID is a critical part of the FLA's tools to manage the firearm industry in Jamaica.
We have also acquired data concentrators to improve the database and the network, the processing time for all our systems. That has vastly assisted us in terms of the timeline in which we are able to process from the application to the testing of firearms. And it must be noted that all ballistic testing of firearms are uploaded immediately to the forensic unit. It's a joint venture program between the Ministry of National Security and the Inter-American Development Bank. The FLA was allocated $400,000 US in terms of to improve the infrastructure.
It's critical that the authority is well resourced. And by resource, we're looking at the human resource, the human capacity. And you can see where they're actually doing tremendous work in ensure that we have the requisite skill set in the authority to take on the tasks that is actually required to satisfy its mandate. Also important in this regard is for the authority to best leverage technology, because that is going to make a vast difference. The more you can actually move away from much of the human element to actually limit opportunities for possible corruption and so on, and enhance efficiency. That is what the technology will actually do.
So it's important that the Firearms Licensing Authority have a strong and robust system of accounting for the licensed firearms in the country.
We currently receive an average of 3,000 firearms applications per month. And once the application comes in, we have a turnaround time of between 6 months to a year to complete the process, which takes it through the application, the interview. We have improved our processes in terms of the investigation. We have automated the process. So we have now online tracking. So persons who drop off their application are immediately informed of their unique ID number to track the application online, and the system also sends an email to the applicant each time there's an update on your application. An email is received and you can go online to track the processes. So there's no need to call the FLA or to find anyone to assist you. You go online and the application process from the start to the finish is done online. And so we continue to improve the processes and the system to ensure that as fast as possible, applicants are told whether they are denied, deferred, or approved for a license.
FLA is moving in the right direction to create the kind of modern face that we require for the entire security system in Jamaica.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running. Are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block. Step out now me block. Cyber take away your laptop. Pull up every lock. No evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the under. From your system you better look out fit. When you move corrupt better look out fit. Please say you get wet. Look out fit. Look out fit. Look out fit. From your system you better look out fit. When you move corrupt better look out fit. Please say you get wet. Look out fit. Look out fit. Look out fit.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
As we turn our attention now to opportunities present for Jamaica's youth, we look to the Heart NSTA Trust. It's the place to go if you'd like to learn a new skill or to develop more on an old one. Jamaica is a place filled with opportunities, and to make sure you can take full advantage, you want to ensure you are certified in your specific area. So take my advice. Visit the Heart NSTA Trust website or give them a call. In the meantime, let's take a look at what's cooking in Heart's kitchen.
Tourism and agriculture have been like Siamese twins from day one. 88% of the world travels for food experiences. And that 42% of the expenditure of all the visitors over the world is on food.
It's for reasons such as this that the Ebony Park Heart Academy has been invested in producing top-class chefs and entrepreneurs to fill industry demands.
What Heart is doing for students is that we are empowering our students. We want them to not just get a skill, but get the skill and make it useful. Open up their own business, have an entrepreneurship mind where you don't normally just have to work for people. We want to target everybody, those that are not doing anything, those that are at home not doing anything, those that feel like, boy, I'm too old and I really can't go back to school. We are for everybody. I want to target everybody in Jamaica because we want to empower our nation. And this is where it starts. We offer a wide variety of hospitality courses such as commercial food preparation, level 2, food and beverage service, level 3. But for this one now that we are focusing on today is the commercial food preparation level 2, where they learn a variety of things. They learn from pastries and to savory cooking. We actually have our own farm where we produce most of the items that we use. The pepper, we have our agro-processing units that gather the food and they process it and bottle it, and we use those products. So we don't normally buy a lot of produce out there on the street because we have our own processing unit, our own farm, our own crops, produce, everything.
Meet Amaria Bryan, a commercial food preparation student at the Ebony Park Heart Academy. At the 67th staging of the Denby Agricultural Industrial Food Show, Amaria showed off what Heart is teaching him with a scrumptious meal of chicken pasta stir-fry.
I do on-the-job training. So basically for a year, I work at the Ebony Park training restaurant meanwhile I am training. So there are days when I have to go in the kitchen to cook for people who are buying food at the restaurant. And we have to do this to attain our grade. And based off our performance, we are graded, and then based off that, we get our certificate. What we did, we add a little twist to it and add an Alfredo sauce. So we basically just build a new recipe on spot, and we just call it chicken Alfredo. And in this, we have sweet pepper of different colors. We have ginger, we have salt, we have a little pinch of salt. We have basically what we was aiming for, we wanted to go natural, so we had no powder seasons. And we had two different types of cheese. We have mozzarella, which give it the body, and we had pepper jack cheese, which give it the flavor and give it a little spiciness. And we had sweet corns, we had blanched carrots, yes, and we have a little clove to give it a little kick. And basically, those are the main ingredients in the pasta. and we just add a little bit of brandy to bring out the flavor in the chicken breast and to basically give it the flambe, the fire effect. That's what we did. And this dish can be prepared in about 5 to 7 minutes. Basically, I have to give the chicken breast time to cook, and the chicken breast cook very quickly. I just recently completed level 2, and I'm actually doing voluntary service here at Denby. And what I plan to do, I plan to do level 3. That's the supervisory level, chef de partie, under the same commercial food preparation. And after I finish that, I plan to work in the hotel, get some experience, but my ultimate goal is to work on the cruise ship and then in the Burj Khalifa at Dubai. Heart has created basically what we call a workforce database where they invest in their trainees, and then they produce them out into the workforce, and they basically have a lot of jobs waiting for us. So once a lot of hotels here at Ebony Park, then they want to take us. Some of them don't even want to interview you. They just want to know you're coming from Ebony Park, and then they just grab it because they know Ebony Park produces the best trainees, the best chefs you can find in Jamaica and on the cruise ship.
Students have worked in our major hotels in Jamaica. Even though I have students at the Rio Hotel, I have students at Sandals, I have students at Hilton. They're all over the place. I have students who are overseas now, who are in the hospitality area, and most of them are chefs. That's what they do, that's what they love, so they just go there. The sky's the limit for them, and they just want to do more, they want to learn more. So even though we teach them here, they always have a passion to know more about this foods, because it's so wide, it's so fun. I don't even know what to tell you, but it's a whole lot in one little package that you can get so much from.
If you want to grab your piece of the pie, but you're scared because you have no certifications in the subject area, don't worry. A mathematics and English entry test are available to process your application. So ask yourself this: what exactly is stopping you from starting your journey?
We saw it last week. Whenever there's a system that could pose a threat to the island, a warning is given by the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. Did you know there's a process that the Met Service must follow before they communicate the information to us? Find out more next.
Tropical Storm Hugo has been upgraded to a hurricane and is expected to impact Jamaica. A hurricane warning is now in effect.
Wait! Did you know there are a few steps that have to be taken before a hurricane advisory is issued? Once a tropical cyclone has formed in the Atlantic or the Caribbean, the Met Service monitors it and puts plans in place in the likelihood that the system will affect Jamaica.
Hugo. We required additional staffing, especially for this.
These include increasing the number of technical staff working at the National Meteorological Center and the number of upper air observations daily, and ensuring that the weather and technical equipment in the office are fully functional. They are in constant dialogue with the National Hurricane Center in the United States, which provides regular updates on the system. Once the Met Service does an assessment and determines that the system is a threat to Jamaica, the following will unfold.
Yes, Prime Minister, Holiness. Yes, Evan Thompson here from the Met Service. I'm really just calling to update you on the situation with Hurricane Hugo. It continues to move closer to the island, and so we believe that it will be necessary for us to move to that hurricane warning. So we're just making sure that we have your approval.
Then?
Hello, yes, Hurricane Specialist, please. Hi, how are you doing? Evan here again from Jamaica. Right. I've just spoken with the Prime Minister. He's in agreement that we'll go to the hurricane warning by 5 o'clock this evening. That's correct.
The National Hurricane Center publicizes this information internationally, and the Met Service prepares and sends bulletins to the local media. And that is how we get here.
A hurricane warning is now in effect for the island.
And as the country prepares for the weather system, the Met Service continues to play a critical role in the country's disaster readiness, providing information to the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management and the local government ministry. These entities use this information to determine which areas on the island should be evacuated and where shelters should be opened. That's not all. The Met Service also works closely with the Coast Guard to evacuate fishermen at sea, on the quays and banks before the storm hits. That is how the Met Service keeps Jamaicans in the know so that they can better prepare for any severe weather system.
We want to tell the farmers thank you, that we truly appreciate all they do. They give tremendous service and they are in fact everyday heroes. They get up and ensure that we have food on our table, and were it not for a farmer, we wouldn't be eating. So oftentimes we may take it for granted, but we want the farmers to know that we're the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, that we do not take them for granted, and we're here to support them. So we will continue to roll out our activities to support our farmers during this month and the entire year. They know that rather the AIC, the NIC, all the agencies of the ministry is there to support them, but my only message is really thank you for all you do.
Of the over 7 billion people in the world, Jamaica accounts for about 2.9 million of them. Now, that's a lot of people, but really, how do they go about calculating these numbers? The census is very important in keeping track of populations. The first census to be undertaken in Jamaica was in 1844, and at that point, our population was approximately 377,433 persons. After the 1844 census, one census was conducted every 10 years between 1861 and 1891. Now, as the 2022 census date approaches in Jamaica, we are urging everyone to be cooperative when the persons start visiting your houses to do their jobs. Remember, you count, me count, all of we count, as we work to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This is where the magazine ends for today, but if you would like to see more content like this, then visit our YouTube page. We also have all the latest news and updates on our social media pages and our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.